Hey guys, it's Max. Thanks for tuning into my channel. Wasn't a very good day for these Defiance funds. Let's check them out though and see what the damage done was. I came home at lunch. I was out running errands and I came back and my internet was down. And it was evidently it wasn't just me or something going on in my house. It was Spectrum. And I was down. I waited. I tried to do everything I could to get it back on for like an hour. Then I finally gave up on it. Fell asleep and took a nap. Then I woke up a few minutes ago and my internet's back on, but I'm sorry I missed the noon report. There wasn't much to report. I mean, nothing much good, I should say. But anyway, let's see what happened. All right, here's triple QY. So these guys, we'll just look at what the minimum they needed. They needed 17,830 at a minimum because they sold this option for 110, but they had to buy the damn thing back for 340 bucks. Darn it. All right, $3.7 million loss. It's not the biggest loss ever. It's the third biggest loss ever, but if you take today's and yesterday's, it's the biggest loss ever. If you take those 2 days and combine them as one day, it's as big as the loss on the first day of the month, which was the biggest loss ever. Last month they had a gigantic loss too. All right, so we've been doing pretty well in the month. We had positive VPS and stuff, so I mean, it just knocked us from positive back to negative. You know, at least we've been doing well other than the first day and other than today. We had been doing about like I would expect. Okay, no surprises on the downside. So let's look at IWMY. All right, now these guys got murdered. All right, these guys sold options for, I made a new column here, just ignore that. I was trying to check something. All right, so these guys sold options for $19.35 at the 2055 level. So they need at least 2035, and the market closed at 1964. My goodness. Holy cow. That is an ass kicking. Yeah, that's definitely the weakest of the ones. Last time it was down big was this day right here. Anyway, yeah, this is definitely the weakest of the bunch. All right, well, so they had to buy options they sold for 20 bucks and they had to buy them back for 90 bucks. Creates a $4 million of red ink on the balance sheet. Jiminy criminy. Look at their earnings per share. They were positive 19 and just this one day knocked them to negative 50. Holy cow. Negative 50 is about what they were averaging last month. Last month they got behind at the get-go, negative 30, negative 80, negative 70, just never to get their head back above water. Negative 70, negative 90, negative 70, 60, 50, 30, 40. But then this month they've been doing just, well, not just fine, but they've been doing a lot better. Let's just put it that way. Been doing a lot better. All right, so let's look over here at JUPY. I guess first we'll look at the spreadsheet. Now this bounced really hard on the close, which is somewhat encouraging, but this is still not good. Not good at all. Okay, so these guys sold options, and these were expensive options. These options were priced expensively because of the number that was coming out this morning, but they weren't priced expensively enough, evidently. Anyway, they sold options at for $22 at the 50-35 level, so the difference is their cushion, which is 5,012. Market closed at 49.53, a full 70 handles under that. Jiminy criminy. Anyway, that's a $1.4 million of red ink on the balance sheet. And that isn't as much as they lost the first day of the month. This is the only good thing you can say about this. And the only other good thing you can say about this is this one has been doing great. Other than the first day, this one's been having a great month up until today. Anyway, it knocked JUPY's earnings per share from positive 9 to negative 12. Okay, let's look at the tracking error report. Let's start here with, now that I put all these different things, I made it harder to read. Unintentionally, I did that. But anyway, Tesla and Tesla. Well, I'm just going to look at this first column, 1 day and then benchmark. All right, we're just going to check out the 1 day error. Tesla held up well. That's good. They didn't get nearly all the downside, just about, they got about a third less. So that's a nice job, Tesla. NVIDIA held up fine. Coney, that's about what you'd expect. They got about 25% less on the downside, just like you'd expect. OARC, they got about 20% less on the downside. AMZ, they got 20% less on the downside, it looks like. Aptly, same thing. AMDY, actually, surely AMDY wasn't up, was it? I guess that's what it's saying. Anyway, well, AMD was down, AMDY was up, so, AMD was down, so that's actually good. They actually outperformed. We're going to give them a outperformance. All right, the rest of them should be in line. TSLP performed similar to TSLY. TSLY held up a little better because the options they use are weeklies instead of monthlies. The shorter the time frame you use, the more downside buffer you get. Or the more buffer you get both ways. You also get more upside buffer when the market's going up. But so we would expect TSLY to hold up better than TSLP because of the, especially on a big down day. Okay, MRNY held up about 25% better. Microsoft outperformed on the downside. Microsoft gave zero cushion, had negative cushion, negative 5 cents cushion right there, or 0.05% cushion. All right, PayPal, PP, PayPal, PayPal, whatever, PY did great. Comparatively, parent asset down 3%. They were only down 1%. That's a pretty big difference. 2/3 less. Definitely take that. Meta had just about no buffer. They caught just about all the downside. Look, Disney was actually up on the day. Is that right? Disney was, yeah, I guess so. Disney was actually up on the day, and DISO outperformed. Nice job. DISO's where you wanted to be today. My goodness. All right. Infly and Netflix. That's about what you'd expect. Netflix, Infly got a little bit less of the volatility. Square and Sky, about what you'd expect. About 20% less volatility or more buffer on Sky. All right, here's a bad one. GUI outperformed on the way down. That's not good. XOMO actually had a nice day. Got some nice buffer there. Same thing with Goop. Goop did all right. Goop got about 33. Goop got about a third less volatility on the downside. It's about what you'd expect. I don't know what happened to GUI. GUI just did not hold up very well today, anyway. MSFY, that's actually really good. They got about a little bit more than half the downside, but that's pretty good buffer right there. That is pretty good buffer. We'll take that. All right, up here, let's look at the index options. iSpy had a terrible day for some reason. Almost outperformed on the downside. I mean, it nearly came within 0.02 of a point of outperforming in a down market. That's not really how these are supposed to. I was hoping that iSpy would have a little more buffer than that. And the one I was really hoping for was JUPY. JUPY appears to only have got 11 cents buffer. And I agree that that's the right price. I think the price is correct, but I think the traders are a little bit too negative on this. We can look and see exactly what kind of buffer JUPY had, although it was a shit show today. So JUPY's buffer, well, I would have to look at the original capture percentage to see what the buffer they had on the downside was. But if it's like the other ones, it's probably 20 cents or 2100. So yeah, that's about right. They didn't give a credit for the whole 2100s. They gave a credit for about half of that, but it's definitely not a good day for that one. SPY looked nice. The Goldman Fund, GPIX looked nice. Of course, it was down, but down, had a pretty good buffer. XYLD was the big winner of the day. Look at XYLD was up while the market was down like this. Most days, XYLD is the big loser. Under normal circumstances, XYLD is not a good one to have, but maybe under abnormal circumstances, that's where XYLD shines. I don't know. I haven't been able to figure out the purpose for XYLD yet. Bally did not do great, to be honest. They got about 9/10 of the downside. All right, let's look up. Maybe it's better news with the NASDAQ high yield complex. Okay, well, JEPQ did great. They got 2/3 less downside. That's great. That's a win right there as far as I'm concerned. Whereas QQQY, they got 2/10 of a point less downside. I would hope for more buffer than that. But anyway, they didn't get it today. Tomorrow they will, because the volatilities will be jacked. But even more jacked than they were today. Look at QYLD. It didn't go down at all while the market was down. Now, QYLD is the Global X funds are the big winners today. FEPI, that's pretty good. Got about 1/3 less volatility, 1/3 less downside. GPIQ, this is the Goldman Fund. That's not good. That actually got the most downside of any of the NASDAQ ones. The GPIQ is the big loser from the NASDAQ point of view. And QQQI, I mean, this fund did great. It was actually up. That's SPY's little brother. Now, SPY wasn't. Let's look at SPY. SPY got a lot of buffer, but damn sure wasn't up. But QQQI was actually up on the day. Nice job. Nice job, Neos. And let's look over here. RYLD. This is the trifecta. It's the big winner over here. RYLD, QYLD, and XYLD. Big days. I mean, yeah, this was still down 1/3 of a point, but when your index is down 4 points, that's pretty damn good. That is pretty damn good. Nice job, Global X. For once, I want to congratulate you guys. All right, IWMY. Gosh darn it, IWMY. I guess that's about the buffer you'd expect. That's more like I would expect from QQQY and JEPY. More like a 40 basis point, 30, 40, 50 basis point buffer, something like that. That's more like I would expect. And these guys got it. Now, the market's down 4%. You're only down 3.3. It's still bad, but it's not as bad. All right. The bond funds, I mean, the worst one was TLTW. That's a covered call fund. These other ones, I don't know what strategy BNDI uses, and TRES uses kind of an exotic calendar spread type situation, so it's hard to get a handle on that one, but yeah, we would expect a covered call one, and they do monthly covered calls, so TLTW is not going to have a lot of downside cushion, and sure enough, now the good news about TLTW, it'll do great during a bull market, but it's not going to do, I wouldn't expect it to do well today, and it did not do well today. All right, SVOL. So I'm using this benchmark called SPVXSPIT, and it is a short volatility benchmark. I just don't think it's the benchmark. I don't think there's, well, maybe, but anyway, it wasn't a good day for short volatility to be sure. So I could see it being down 7%. So if that's the case, when their benchmark was down 7% and they're only down 0.5%, that is darn good. And now I see why people like SVOL so much. I've never disliked SVOL, but I'm just more into the equity, the ones that sell equity volatility. Of course, they're selling VIX volatility, and VIX is derived from equity, so it's all the same. SVOL had a great day. I'm going to have to give the big winner of the day to SVOL and to QQQI and to the Global X funds. We'll have to give them the big winner of the day too, and to Disney. Disney did a great job. Well, and also don't forget about AMDY. AMDY, Disney, Global X. Those are the big winners, and QQQI. and whatever the other one I was talking about was just a second ago. Well, let's check out Poppy. Poppy actually did pretty good. Look at that. You got less than half the downside. I forgot to mention Poppy. Poppy actually did good. I'm going to have to keep an eye on Poppy from now on. I just started covering it the other day. All right, guys. Sorry it wasn't a better day. Sorry I don't have better things to report. I'll take a look at the option positions for tomorrow, and I'll come back on and have a show tonight. Maybe we'll even look at some of these charts. I don't know if the charts are longer term, so they probably don't update as often. Yeah, but they did update. You can see they are changing. Anyway, we may take a look at the charts tonight. All right, guys, have a good day. Take care.